I want to laugh during this hour. I need to laugh during this hour, so I'm just telling you that in advance.
We will definitely do that. Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Welcome back to the DCL podcast, your podcast to help you and your family cruise a little smarter when the ships are sailing. They are slowed down right now, but they'll be back on the waters again soon. I'd like to welcome to the show our hardworking travel agent from Detroit. How you doing today, Christy?
I am well. How are you, Steve?
Not too bad. And you know what? We're just going to jump right into the show. I want to welcome back to the show one of our favorite guests. All our guests are favorite, but we really enjoy your humor, Amber. Amber from Florida. How you doing today, Amber?
Aloha, Steve and Christy.
Aloha. I need your humor so much today, Amber. So I'm super excited about this recording.
Me too, because I love the topic we're going to talk about.
You know, this I think this has been on the books for like 2 years now, I think, or something like that.
Yes, it has.
Time. Apparently, we only needed coronavirus to be able to fit in the recording.
Right.
Silver linings.
Yeah, the Disney Cruise Line or the DCL podcast, you know, just moving quickly every day at a glacial pace. So we are going to turn our focus over to, and I know you hate it when people say this, Christy, the cruise ship in Hawaii, Aulani.
Aulani.
and Amber, you just got back how long ago now? It was about a month ago or so?
Yeah, we went early February.
Okay, and you've been over there quite a few times, haven't you?
Yes, this was my fourth trip.
All right, and what was the first time you went there?
Like right when it opened. The first trip was literally like the week or two after it had opened. And then the past 3 trips have been within the past 4 years. It's just very memorable because the day Trump was elected, we were in Hawaii. So everybody was talking about it. So since our current president has been in office, I've been there 3 times.
Wow. And Christy, when was the last time you were there? Not to put you on the spot.
I went one time.
Okay.
So it was the time, and it was in 2011.
Wow.
Right after it opened. About 3 months after it opened.
That's funny because so the 3 of us were there right when it opened, basically. I think I can't remember when we were there, to be completely honest. I think you beat me as far as when you got there, Christy.
Yeah, I went in November, and it was something we booked like last minute, and we had frequent flyer miles. We did it so on the cheap, as much on the cheap as you could go to Hawaii. It was kind of funny.
Okay,
we'll talk about that in the food portion.
Well, you guys know I'm all about going on the cheap, so we will talk about that a lot.
Perfect. Well, we won't spend too much about the history of Aulani. There's a lot of podcasts out there that talk about the history. It was opened in 2011. It's got 359 hotel rooms, 460 timeshare villas, and we are DVC owners. We stayed the first time just on cash. My parents bought it for us when they first opened up, and the mantra of DVC, I wish we would have bought DVC then. We actually took the tour, but we did not buy it until later. So I just want to, I guess, ask you, Amber, what keeps you coming back the 3 times, over, a 4-year period now?
We do have DVC, so that makes the rooms super affordable. We go on the off times when the points are pretty low. And then honestly, we didn't mean to go 3 times in the past 4 years, but we just kept finding like dirt cheap airfare. So we were like, we should just go. I mean, the second time we went, airfare was $300 from Florida.
Wow.
Like, that's crazy. So that was the only reason we took that trip. And then our most recent trip was to celebrate my husband's 40th birthday. And my daughter is 5. So we thought she could probably handle the flying and the traveling. And she did.
Well, let's just start there.
Yeah,
Christy, you're
please.
from Detroit, and Amber, you're from Florida. How do you guys get there? Do you guys stop on the West Coast, or do you guys look for those? What's your advice as far as getting over to Hawaii?
For me, there's not a direct flight at all. So we try to stop. I mean, we just try to book the cheapest flight possible, with like a 2-hour layover. We don't stop and stay anywhere. I know a lot of people will stop and stay at like Disneyland or something. We just want to get there as soon as possible. So the flight's awful. It takes like 14 hours with layovers and stuff, but you got to do what you got to do.
How about you, Christy?
So for like 1 minute, it was literally like 2 months or something, there was a direct flight from Detroit. And now there's a direct flight about 2 times a year. So over spring break and I think one other time, something like that. So it's basically we're making a connection. From here, I really did enjoy connecting through to Seattle because I felt like it gave us a long enough stretch on the way home to be able to get some good sleep on the way, because you fly from Hawaii to at least my area at nighttime. So you take a nighttime flight home. And so the goal for me would be to get the longest possible time so that you can sleep. And possibly going from Hawaii to Atlanta might be a good step, or to Minnesota. Just, you're going to want to get as much sleep as possible. So if you make the stop, then you're getting up, getting off the plane, all of that.
Right.
Yeah, for real. We actually flew from Hawaii to Washington, D.C., which was like crazy far. And then this is on the way back, and then a quick flight down to Florida. So yeah, we were able to sleep. I mean, it's awful sleep. It's not fun, but at least it's better than stopping midway.
And from the West Coast, it's pretty easy. I guess we've got it the easiest over here. So it's like a 5 or 6 hour flight, depending upon the time of year. Well, once you guys get there, how do you normally get out to the resort, Amber? Do you guys rent a car? Do you take a shuttle? Do you Uber?
We always rent a car, and we always rent from Hertz. I don't have a frequent whatever with Hertz, but Hertz is right at the terminal. So you get off the plane, get your bags, walk across the street, and Hertz is right there. So it's super convenient. And as DVC members, we get free parking at the hotel. Otherwise, parking is really expensive. So that's a huge perk for being DVC, is the free parking for sure.
So when I went, Uber wasn't a thing. I probably would consider that route. But we did do a one-way car rental. And we could returned it. I think it was from Alamo, maybe, or her. I don't remember. It's whatever rental. And I don't even know if they're still there. Maybe you guys could answer this question, but whatever rental place was at the hotel next door, which it was a different hotel, but there's still a hotel there. So now it's
sorry. I was going to say, actually, I'm 90% sure the Alamo is on site at Aulani.
Yeah, so the Alamo's on site and the Hertz is next door. At least it used to be next door.
Alamo is on site. I just pulled it up. And the one thing I would recommend is if you're going to use a car from Alamo, if you're not renting and driving out there and keeping a car there, make sure you either make a reservation the night before, because that line can get really long in the morning and sometimes they run out of cars.
And then what we did is we used our car rental to stop at the Target, and there's also a Costco at the highway exit just before you're going to go to Aulani. And so we stocked up on some food to help, again, make our trip a little bit cheaper.
Here's a quick hot tip about that Target. We always go there too. Right next door to the Target is a Subway. So...
Oh my God. Ding, ding, ding. There needs to be a bell, right? So when you receive our recording, you can...
I have actually been to that Subway, to be completely honest, so I am familiar with that Subway, Amber.
I have not been to that Subway.
Fantastic. We go every time because we do the same thing. We go to that Target, buy food, buy some Subway because we're always starving because we've just been on an airplane for 14 hours. And then we eat Subway in our hotel room. That's our tradition.
That's probably the best way to do it as far as food goes. If you rent that car, especially DVC owners, rent the car, drive to the resort, stop by Costco, Target, wherever you want to go there, get some groceries, because the food, obviously, we'll talk about, is pretty expensive at Aulani itself and in the resort area where Aulani sits. I was trying to think, there was one other thing that I wanted to throw out there. Oh, the other good thing about Target too is if you don't want to pack like extra clothes, you can get some pretty decent clothes over like island clothes if you're kind of out for that year. Like we've done that before. Like we're going in like February and our kids are growing, right? And so like all their summer stuff is like out of whack, and so we've gotten just some swim shorts and things like that there. They also have, and I want to throw this out there, reef shoes. So I don't know if you've ever gotten those, Amber. You don't need them for Aulani, but if you're going to go explore like the North Shore in the summer, you definitely need some kind of reef shoes to step on the coral and be in the water up there sometimes.
No, you're right. Target, they have like a huge like touristy section. So if you're looking for like fun souvenirs, they actually have a lot of stuff. We actually went to Target, I think, 3 times this trip. So there's that.
We bought the Christmas ornament that we hang on our tree every year from Target.
Nice.
From the Hawaiian Target.
All right, so we finally get to the resort. When you pull up that first time, Amber, talk about what it's like to walk into Aulani in the lobby area there.
Well, when you made fun of Christy, or wait, did Christy make fun of you for calling this the cruise of Hawaii or whatever you
Cruise
said?
ship.
It made me laugh because that's honestly what it feels like. Because when you're driving to Port Canaveral, for example, you're kind of in the middle of nowhere, and then from far away you see the ship, and you're like, there it is. And then you get close, and you're like, oh, I saw it from far away. Aulani's the same way. You're kind of driving in the middle of nowhere. You get up on a hill, you see the brown hotel, and you're like, I see it. And then you get really close, and you're there. So it is very much like driving to Port Canaveral. I mean, you pull up, it's amazing. If you did the online check-in, like they already know your name. They've got a fresh flower lei for girls. I think it's called kukui nut. It's like this necklace. It looks like walnuts, I guess. For men, they gave my daughter a little necklace, and they have like fresh water outside. And then you don't even have to go to the check-in desk if you've done it all online. You just scooch right up to your room. It's fantastic.
Christy, what was your thoughts as you guys... I know it's been a little while, but what was your thoughts as you pulled up to Aulani that first time?
It really is breathtaking. And even when you're pulling up to the building, like, it's memorable. Obviously, I travel quite a bit, and I can still remember everything about that first moment of driving up. It is very memorable. The building just sort of comes out of nowhere when you arrive. And then when you're even walking into the lobby, they have designed that lobby perfectly. Perfect.
Oh man, it's just like kind of walking onto a cruise ship because you got the big atrium with all the fanciness, and you walk into Aulani and it's pretty tall, and right in front of you is just open up to a huge balcony, like overlooking the ocean. It is breathtaking.
Yeah, overall the lobby's not as big as like walking into Animal Kingdom Lodge or Wilderness Lodge, but with that, as you're talking about, Amber, with that balcony that leads out and it looks out over the resort and then over the ocean itself, it just kind of it just gets bigger, I guess. I mean, like I don't know if I make it sense. The lobby itself isn't like overly huge, but with that view out, it just really extends out and kind of draws you in, which I think is amazing. And plus the music that they've got going on there with the kind of Hawaiian themed. It's Kali'i Rochelle, which is one of my mom's favorite singers. He was a famous Hawaiian singer over there, so they got him to provide a lot of the music. And I think one of the coolest things, I'm just going to go on a segue here, is like when you get in the elevator. Can you talk about that, Amber?
Oh yeah, the elevator music is all just classic Disney songs, but they're sung in Hawaiian. So at first you're like, oh, elevator music, dee-dee-dee. And then you realize, like, wait a minute, they're singing, I can't think of a song right now, but it's like, oh, they're singing Small World, but it's in like the Hawaiian language. So it's very special.
Yeah, or When You Wish Upon a Star or something like that. So
yeah.
So one of the tips, just like, regular Disney resorts, the rooms are not open till 4, but there is an availability of a room downstairs after you check in to keep your stuff. Have you ever used that, you guys?
We did.
Have you used it, Amber?
I never have, just because it takes me so long to get there. Like by the time I get there, it's 4:00. You know what I mean? So Luckily, my room's almost always ready right away.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't use it on check-in day because we arrived in the middle of the night or 8:00 at night. But on the checkout day, we used it.
Yeah, so
and it was great.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool little room down there. They've got cartoons going. The only people they'll give you an extra key, a special key. So the only people that can use it are people checking in or checking out that day. So it kind of reduces. Not during your stays in the resort, you can't go in there, but they've got showers in the bathroom. So if you've had that long, I don't know about you guys, but I always feel gross after a long airplane ride. So they've got showers if you want to use them with towels. There's TVs with the cartoons on for the kids to kind of keep them entertained. So it's kind of a nice place to hang out while you're waiting for your room or that last day if you want to get out of the sun a little bit.
Yeah, plus because most flights, for me anyway, are always at night. Like 6:00, 7:00 at night. So of course you have to leave your room by 11. And then by the time you want to leave for the airport, you're just kind of smelly from being out in the sun. So I've never used it, but I'm like thankful it's there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It was really well thought out. And I think that's the thing that this hotel makes this hotel the best. Len Testa has said before that it is his favorite resort anywhere. Maybe it was his favorite Disney resort, but I think it was his favorite resort anywhere. It is my favorite resort anywhere. And partially it's because it's just so well thought out. Everything was thought with, either the Hawaiian culture in mind so that they could share that, or the guests staying there. It really is remarkable.
No, she's right. It really is. It really is amazing.
So obviously it's been said before, it was designed by Joe Rohde, who he also did Animal Kingdom and the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and a lot of the influences there. So they really incorporate a lot of the Hawaiian history and just kind of the Hawaiian culture throughout this hotel. I know it's been voted the top Hawaiian resort by Hawaiians, if that makes any sense. It's like the only one that gets that type of notification, or what am I looking for?
Like authentication?
Designation
by the Hawaiian people over there. There's not another hotel within the Hawaiian Islands that even reaches the level of authenticity as far as bringing out a lot of the Hawaiian culture. So let's turn to the rooms. What kind of room did you guys book, and what have you stayed in before, Amber?
The first time I stayed in a regular hotel room. The second 2 times was in a studio, and this time we splurged and got a 1-bedroom villa.
Nice. And can you talk a little bit about what was included in that 1-bedroom villa?
There was a bedroom with a king bed, and then a huge bathroom with a tub and a tub and a sink in one room, and then a shower and a sink and a toilet in the other room. And then there's the living room with a sofa bed, and then one of those beds that's like under the TV. I know a lot of DVCs have those. Yeah. And then it has a full kitchen, everything, fridge, stove, microwave, everything, and then a washer and dryer. So the reason why we got that larger room was because we were going to buy all of our own food and make all of our own food. So we kind of spent more on the room, but then we saved a ton of money on groceries. And also, honestly, a ton of money on baggage fees because we didn't pack very much because we knew we'd be able to do our own laundry.
And Chrissy, where'd you guys stay when you were there?
Well, we were on the hotel side, obviously, because I don't think the DVC side was it even open? Oh, no, 2 of the things were open. But so we were on the hotel side. We booked a standard room, and we were actually upgraded to essentially a 1-bedroom, but there's no kitchen. So it was just like, it was a suite, and it had the bedroom, much like the DVC bedroom, but then the living room was just a living room with a bunch of furniture and no kitchen, if that makes sense. And then we had a partial ocean view room, which also was partially and I apologize, my lack of sleep is definitely affecting my talking today, but it's still a topic I'm super excited about. I cannot make the words come out. But the parking structure, so it had some ocean and some parking structure, but it was absolutely stunning.
One thing to point out, all of the hotel, whether you're in the hotel room or in the studios, they all have small refrigerators, but with the 1-bedroom, you get the full refrigerator and full kitchen, which is really nice, wasn't it, Amber?
Yeah, like I said, we made all of our own food, so it worked out well, especially since my daughter was there. Kids just like to snack all the time, so it was super helpful to have a fridge and the drawers stocked with food.
I'll throw it out, a little tip for DVC people. If you're lucky enough to own at Aulani and you get on to book at the 11-month window, a lot of times you can get those hotel rooms for a lot cheaper than just the studios, and we do that a lot because the only thing that you miss out on that is you miss out on the little sink bar area, but the hotel rooms still have the fridge, and then you get 2 queen beds instead of having that pull out. So that has actually worked out well for us. And my kids are old enough now that they really don't like that pull out couch, so if we can get 2 queen beds, it just works out better.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, let's turn to the food then, I guess. You guys cooked a lot of your food there. Did you guys eat at the hotel at all, or what were kind of your food experiences besides in the room?
Well, like I said, my husband turned 40, so what else would a 40-year-old grown man want to do than go to a character breakfast on his birthday? So we did the Makahiki character breakfast, and that was a lot of fun. Although, honestly, the amount of money we spent on one breakfast was the same amount that we spent on all of the other food combined.
Wow.
But it was still fun. It was kind of fun to eat a variety, versus all the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches we've been eating before. First of all, you get to meet Mickey right away. He's not walking around the tables. He's outside. You meet him first. So you get a really nice picture with Mickey. And then walking around the characters were Minnie, Goofy, and Pluto. And then there's also a woman named Auntie who sings some songs, kind of like at Ohana at the Polynesian, how I believe Auntie kind of does the same thing. The problem is there's like an inside and then an outside of the restaurant. We were sitting outside, so Auntie was more like inside with the kids. So we didn't really do any Auntie things, but that was fine. I really enjoyed being outside with the fresh air and there's like a koi pond right there. So I highly recommend it. Super expensive, but the food is delicious.
And they have a lot of unique food. So they have what would be deemed as Hawaiian type options. And then they also have Asian options, which is nice.
They did. I'm drawing a blank now, but they had some sort of Hawaiian fried rice. I think that's what it was called. And I ate a ton of that. It felt weird eating fried rice for breakfast. Yeah. But it's like there's pineapple in there. I don't know. And then I had a loco moco, which is rice, an egg of some sort, and then like a hamburger patty and gravy. Like that was really good for breakfast. They did have a whole Asian section, and I don't want to offend anybody by trying to say what those things were, but there was just such a huge variety. I would recommend it.
Yeah, there's a huge Japanese population I know that comes to Aulani, and so they definitely cater to kind of their taste throughout the resort. And it's kind of cool to be able to have that because we've tried some of their stuff for breakfast, and it's really good. It kind of mixes it up a little bit. The only thing that I've heard between the character breakfasts is the breakfast is a lot from just other people talking about it. We've never done the dinner. There's also a character dinner, but for the most part, I think the breakfast gets the best reviews.
Is it a character? So again, with my questions, but is it a character breakfast or dinner now, or was it just that they had a buffet?
They have both.
Because when I was there, it was just a buffet, but not a character dinner.
Yeah, they have both actually now. And it's not every day that. Actually, you know what? It may be the character breakfast is every day. They kind of mixed it up the first time we went there. We haven't been back, to be completely honest, since then. Our kids aren't really into the characters so much. So, but they do have a character dinner, and that instead of auntie, they have uncle there at the dinner.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, but they're not every day. You'd have to check. You can go online at Aulani, and there's a Daily Eva, which we'll talk about here in just a second, but that's got information there as far as when those dinners are available. So besides that, did you guys eat at any of the other snack places around, or?
Not this trip, but we have in the past. There's kind of a snack place right in the middle of the pool. It just has like fish and chips and, your basic like quick pool snacks. They also have a Shave Ice, which we did get. We bought it right before we were about to leave. And for some reason, the computers were all down. So we got a free Shave Ice.
Nice.
So that was a good deal. They also have over on I'll call it the right side of the pool by the adult pool, they have a pretty big quick service. We went in there a couple times and everything was just like super expensive and didn't seem all that exciting. So we didn't buy anything from there.
It's called the Ulu Cafe, which is, like you said, their quick service. It's probably the best bang for your buck, to be completely honest. If you're gonna eat there, they have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. At dinner, they always have a hot dinner that they change it up every day. So we've eaten there a couple times, but you're right. For the most part, if you can save some money by bringing at least your breakfast or stuff, that's probably the best way to do it. But there's the Ulu Cafe. They also have a place that we like is Off the Hook, which is kind of their bar food area, which is out by the lazy river and kind of their main pool. So we'll do that a lot of times in the evenings. They have burgers and tacos, fish tacos and things like that. They also have Ama Ama, which is, we've never eaten there. That's their kind of signature restaurant, and it kind of gets mixed reviews, but it's got a great view.
Yeah, I went there the first time, and you're right, it's right on the ocean, and that's when the sun is setting right there. So I don't know about the food, but the ambiance is like to die for.
Yeah, they don't have as many chicken tender meals there, but the ambiance in the view is beautiful. And I can't speak to that meal recently because obviously it's been a million years since I've been there, but we actually went for lunch. And so that's a money saving tip if it's still open for lunch, because lunch is always much less expensive than dinner, obviously. And so that's one of our always money savings tips is you could potentially do your big meal of the day in the middle of the day, and then you can eat in your hotel room / DVC room for dinner.
It is still open. It's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so and the only time I think that you really need reservations is around when the sun sets. So you can actually get reservations. That's one time where I think it fills up. So if that's something that you want to do, you might want to get online and do that ahead of time. I don't want to dwell too much about food, but across the street from Aulani, there's kind of like a little shopping center. Have you guys ever been over there? I know, Christy, it wasn't really built up when you were there, but Amber.
No, we did.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah, there was like tacos, the taco place there. I don't know if that's still there, but and then the store that you were able to eat from. So we actually ate lunch or dinner there a couple of times as well.
And Amber, have you been over there at all, or have you guys been over there before?
Monkey Pod is what everybody talks about, and just me personally, I don't enjoy it, but I think I'm the only person that doesn't enjoy it. Everybody else seems to love it. They have a pretty good happy hour where things are discounted. And if you are there during football season, happy hour is like from 3 to 5. I kind of made that up. But that's when the like nighttime football games are happening, like out in Hawaiian time. So it's a great place to eat some pretty cheap food kind of in the middle of the day, but you can sit and watch sports. Rumor has it it's called Hawaiian barbecue or something across the street. And I've heard from multiple people that it's just awful. So that's my tip. Do not eat there. I've never eaten there, but I've just heard from numerous people that it's terrible.
I would throw out a couple of different things. They have Roy's, which is down the street. He is a famous chef from Honolulu. We've eaten in his restaurant downtown Honolulu before, and the food is excellent. I'm guessing the prices are pretty high. Monkey Pod, like you said, the prices get high once dinner hits, but they do have a happy hour. Also, there's a pizza place, which isn't too bad. Our kids this is not going to be award-winning pizza, but the pizza's not bad. But I will say this, everybody I've talked to that's gone to the Mexican place, do not go to the Mexican place either. You will regret it. So it is not, I don't know how that place stays open. And I don't mean to pick on places normally, and if I've offended anybody that loves it, I'm sorry, but pretty much everybody I've told, I told somebody, hey, do not go there, and they went there anyways, and they texted me back and they said, dude, why did we go there? I was like, I don't know. There's an ice cream place over there too, which I can't remember the name of it, but that's kind of fun to go to at night. They've got some different like Hawaiian flavors, like coconut ice cream and stuff too. So that's kind of a fun place to get if you want to get out of the hotel, walk over there in the evening and have an ice cream. That's kind of a neat thing to do as well. So. Well, let's turn to some of the things that you can do around the resort itself. I kind of joked about it being a cruise ship, and just like the kids clubs on the ships, they have Auntie's Beach House. Have you guys used Auntie's Beach House, and what were your experiences, Amber?
Yeah, we used it all the time. My daughter loved it. Similar to the cruise line, it is free-ish. It's only open, and I'm going to make this up. It's like 9:30 to 9 o'clock. So it's not open like super crazy hours like the cruise line, but it's open enough. They do not serve food, lunch or dinner, I should say, unless you pay for it. And I believe it's $10. So it's a pretty good deal. You guys know me. I'm not going to pay for anything I don't have to pay for. So we didn't do that. They did give my daughter like snacks on occasion. They also had some things you could pay for. We did 2 of them. We kind of splurged on this. One of them was a Moana thing. One of them was like Chippendale surfing something or other. And then the third one was something about fish. We didn't do that third one. I believe they were $65 or $70 a piece, and it was about an hour and a half. And they had one of those per day. So those did fill up very quickly.
And do you register for that before your trip or while you're there?
Yeah, you can register ahead of time, which we did. And if there's still availability, you can do it the day of. And also, they give the kids a magic band. You don't use magic bands normally for your room, but for the kids club, you use a magic band. They gave you a receipt, and they were like, take a picture of this receipt because you need it to get your money back if you're going to turn in your magic band.
Oh.
So, of course, I didn't do any of that. And then I immediately did a load of laundry. And in went the receipt in the laundry. So we are the proud owners of an Aulani Magic Band.
But they're cute. So, you know. Oh, that's a really good tip, though, to do that, to save the receipt. So as it relates to the activities, you paid for them. She did them. Did she enjoy it? Do you feel afterward that it was worth it?
She loved them, yes. Now, if she didn't, the kids club is actually like 5 different rooms. And when they have these activities, they kind of call the kids' names and they go into the room and then they close the door so the other kids can't see what's going on. So if we didn't do these, she would have been perfectly happy, without doing them. But every time we picked her up, she did say she loved it. After the Moana one, she had a little surfboard made out of wood. It's pretty high quality that she had like painted. And then after the Chippendale one, she had a little paddle that she had put some stamps on and a little backpack. So she did have a lot of fun. I'm glad I did it just because, we're not going to go back to Alani probably for a while. So she won't be like a squirrely little 5-year-old forever. So we're like, all right, we'll pay for these things. You can do them. The next time we go, she might be too old for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So just some numbers there. It's open from 8 to 9 daily, and it's an open house from 8 to 9:30. So there's no check-ins or drop-offs then. So you can come down there and check it out with your kids to kind of get them comfortable, see if they're going to like it. And it's for ages 3 to 12. And then they do have some activities for tweens from like 10 to 17. They do like some beach workout in the morning, like about 10 or 11. They do some fun things with the teens down there. So there are some limited things for tweens and teens as far as that goes. And then the actual beach house itself, it's indoors and outdoors right now.
Yeah, they do have an outside area with nothing extensive, but some like basic like playground equipment.
And I missed it. Did you say you registered for most of this stuff ahead of time, or did you do it while you were there? Because before it used to be like people would be lining up at ridiculously early in the morning to get their kids into some of the events that went that day, but you did that all online? I apologize.
Yeah, no, I had heard all those rumors about waiting in huge lines, and I was like, I don't want to do that on vacation, So I asked a cast member, and she said they used to do that because they had kind of the crew stuff like super sloppy science and cooking and stuff like that. And that's what you had to line up for. And they kind of got rid of that. And now they just have these special activities that cost money. We signed up ahead of time. I'm assuming you could also sign up when you got there, granted, if there was still space available.
Yeah, I think that's a lot better because there's nothing worse than having to get up at 6 o'clock to get in a line to, us Disney people, right? We know, the ins and outs. And if you're not on the inside, then your kid doesn't get to go do it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I guess I want to paint it over. What are you guys' thoughts of this? I kind of joke about it being kind of like a cruise ship, but I think it's even less than the cruise ship as far as like Disney goes. Like there's definitely characters around. They do have like a dance party by the pool, not every single day. But overall, what do you guys think? I think it's actually, if you're looking for Mickey all the time, you're not going to find him there all the time, but you can find him when you want to. I think it's a little less than the cruise ships. What do you guys think?
Yeah, for sure.
That's actually one of the reasons we did the character breakfast, because my other 3 trips, we barely saw any characters. Of course, on this trip, I actually got the hang of the characters, which I'll talk about in a second. So we saw every single character multiple times. So we were kind of character professionals by the end of this trip, but they're kind of hidden. If you're not looking for them, you're really not going to find them very often.
Yeah, that's a good point. So let's kind of turn to the Daily Eva, which is the daily paper. And just like the cruise ship, they no longer put it in your room, Christy.
Oh, come on. Do they even print it?
They do. It's in the lobby. So I don't know about anybody else, but I do not adjust to time changes. I don't even try. So I'm up at 4 a.m, and my daily activity was grab my phone, put on a bra, go down into the lobby, grab the Daily Eva, sit there for an hour and a half reading it, and then playing on Instagram. So that's what I did every morning, kind of planning my day, because I think the paper comes out at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, the night before. And Little Miss Eastern Time Zone over here was long asleep by that time. So I always got it first thing in the morning and then plan my day accordingly.
So they break it down
This is why I love Amber.
Sorry, Christy, I keep talking over you. I know. So they break it down family, children, and then youth activities that are on there. So every day they've got different things that you can do. Like the youth stuff, they have teen spa services, Teen Island Beach Challenge. That's what I guess I was talking about for the teens. And then the Keiki, which are the children. That's Hawaiian for children. They've got all the different things. Most of it's over in Auntie's Beach House. And then a lot of fun around the resort. What were some of the activities that you guys did besides the pool area before we talk about the pool?
We did a bunch of stuff this trip because my previous trips, we kind of just hung out at the resort. So this trip, I was going to do all the Alani activities I could possibly do. So I did a drawing class, kind of like they have on the cruise ship where you draw a character. They also had, after we drew a character, they gave us something to paint. That was all one activity. I did a ukulele class, and that was super fun. That filled up real quick. We also did a hula class.
So really quick, back to the ukulele class. If it filled up, did they then say there's no more availability, or it filled up, but also more people could have been accommodated?
No, it filled up and you were done.
Okay.
I really wanted to do it. It was called something like in Hawaiian on the Daily Eva. So I missed it. So I went down there like as soon as I figured it out and they're like, no, they're all full. I'm like, I'm one person. But thankfully, like 2 days later, they had it and I caught on. So yeah, like when things are full, and this is where you do have to wait in line, which kind of stinks. You got to get down to the, what's it called? Not the clubhouse. What am I trying to say?
It's
community hall.
Community hall, yes.
You got to get down to community hall. I think it opened at 8 a.m, which again, I was wide awake by 8 a.m. And you got to get in line to sign up for all these activities. They're all free for the most part, but that was kind of a bummer, but I don't know. You got to do what you got to do.
So with the community center, so you said that that's where you would go to sign up for the activities. So in the past, or in other resorts, the community center is typically a DVC related thing. Is that where everybody signed up for the activities or just the DVC members?
No, it's everybody.
Okay.
I'm assuming just because the painting and drawing class I went to, I sat at a table with non-DVC members and they just kept asking me questions. I feel like I was selling them on DVC. But the room does have books that you can check out. I mean, for free, like a lot of kids' books. We did that. They had like Uno
awesome.
and stuff like that. They had a ton of DVDs that you could check out too. So I'm assuming that was open to everybody, but I guess don't quote me on that.
It is open to everybody, and like you said, Amber, there's DVDs that you can rent to take back to the room for movie nights in the evenings and whatnot else. So, and I know some of the activities they do have a cost to it as well, but most of them are free. I've done the ukulele one. That is a lot of fun. That was super cool.
That was super fun. The one I can think of that costs money is they have an actual painting class, probably similar to ones that you have at your hometown, where it's like, sip and wine or wine and paint or whatever, where you just paint for like an hour and a half. They had some of those at night I think they had an adults only one and then a family one. I didn't do that because I'm like, how am I going to bring a painting home on the airplane?
Right. We did the workouts when we were in Aulani. So they had them on the beach. And I don't know did you have to sign up for those now? You didn't back then, back in the day.
I don't know. Those had a fee involved.
Oh, so they charge now.
Yeah, because
okay.
I would have like hung out and done some yoga or something for free, but I'm like, I'll just sit in the lobby and play with my phone for free.
Yeah. And you posted so many good things. And on our DCL podcast Instagram page, we did a highlight. Is that what that's called? Yes. The circles of some of her Aulani posts. So you can go and look at them at any time.
So just to touch on a couple more activities that I know around before we get to the pool area and just kind of how you spend the day at the resort there. They also have a couple that are kind of cool. They have the luau. Did you go to the luau by any chance? There's a name on it, and I'll find it. But
we did not because our room faced the luau.
Oh, and that's magical, isn't it?
Well, you know what? It's when we saw this room, we're like, oh my gosh, we're free luau. I can't believe it. But so yeah, the first day there was the luau. We made the cheesiest food we had, like hot dogs or something. We're like, luau. But like the luau was like 3 hours. Like it was long. So we could see it, but having her in the face of the luau isn't as cool as it sounds. But I'm kind of glad we didn't do the luau because we got to watch it like 2 or 3 times for free.
When I went 100 years ago, it didn't have a charge. It was different, but it didn't have a charge.
That's because it didn't have food. Then now it's got food and drinks. And
stuff.
It
used to be like you were on the lawn and they just kind of played ukulele and danced a little bit. And now they have. It was kind of fun watching because the dancers would dance on stage and then they'd run off stage to like change or whatever. And they weren't like changing in front of us, but you could see them like run off stage and we could see like behind the scenes. So it was fun to watch.
We have done the luau. It's probably that luau, and then there's another one there in Ko'olina. Aulani's in the resort area called Ko'olina, right across the street from Aulani. It used to be a Marriott, now it's a Four Seasons, and on the other side of the Four Seasons and I'm drawing a blank on the name of that luau.
It's Paradise Cove.
Paradise Cove luau. Those two get the highest ratings of luau's across Oahu, so you can't go wrong with either one of them. They are expensive. We really enjoyed the Aulani one. The food was good, and it's not making a mini like it used to be when it was free. It's the story of the Polynesians coming to the Ewa Plain there, and it's your typical the dancing and the music and the fire dancing and the drumming. I think if you wanted to splurge for a luau, you couldn't go wrong with either one of those two.
And Mickey and Minnie do show up at the luau for like one song. So they kind of do acknowledge that, hey, this is a Disney luau, but you're right. For the most part, it's Hawaiian dancing.
And then two other things I think that are worth throwing out there is every evening they do this several times. They have a fire pit, which is down by the beach where Uncle will do stories. They're kind of quick stories. They're all in kind of Hawaiian themed stories. They last about 10 or 15 minutes long. Those are kind of interesting to go and listen to, especially if you want to learn a little bit about the Hawaiian culture. And one thing that we didn't talk about food is, did you guys get the mugs? Because they have mugs there just like at Walt Disney World.
We didn't, again, because we just brought our own soda. But we were kind of thinking like, man, we should have got this mug because you could refill it at a couple different places close to the pool. It would have been more convenient than running up to our room on the 10th floor every time I was thirsty.
We usually get a couple of the mugs just because we have coffee in the morning. So the coffee at Aulani is amazing. Coffee around Disney World in general is not very good, but Aulani, they actually use Hawaiian Kona coffee. Well, it's a Kona blend, but the coffee there is amazing. So we use them for that.
Oh, man, I made my husband like bring all our own coffee from home because we were being real cheap, but I'll have to tell him that for next trip.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Uncle Fire Pit, we did that pretty much every time it was offered. My daughter and I would watch Uncle all the time. We just kept hearing the same stories over and over again because we went so many times. And then the very last night, there was like a new uncle, like a different guy. So my daughter real loud, like, "Where's the real uncle?" I'm like, oh,
I love kids.
Like, that's not Uncle. Like, it's the uncle today. Like, his beard got a lot shorter.
Well, those are a lot of the activities. There's just so much stuff to do there. Let's turn to the pool area. How did you guys spend the days while you were there at the resort itself?
Well, Steve and Christy, surprise, surprise, I was freezing. This was early February. So it was like in the mid to low 70s, which is obviously fine. But when you're like, almost naked in a swimming suit, it's a little chilly. But they do have a pool. We call it Ariel's Grotto because my daughter loves Ariel, but I think it's called the Grotto. Don't quote me on any of this, but I think it might be like salt water or something different than just regular pool water because that pool was pretty warm. Like it had like a weird taste and it really hurt your eyes. So something about this pool was different. So we spent most of our time in that pool just because it was the warmest one. The adult pool, I was devastated to find out, was closed because it was under rehab. Because we dropped off our daughter at the kids club. And we're like, adult pool. And then it was closed. Devastating. We did go down the water slides a few times. Those things are scary. Like, there's 2 water slides. One, you're sitting in a raft, and that's super fun, but it's really fast. And then the other one is 100% like inside a tube. So you're just in like the scary tube for a minute. Like, it was scary, but it was fun. And then there's the lazy river.
Did your daughter go down the water slide?
She did. Like, I was shocked. We just kind of like shoved her down. All right.
Shoved her down.
And I went after her. I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is terrifying.
And did she go more than once?
She did.
So it must have been a good move.
I know. Yeah. Thankfully, it wasn't too scary. And then there's the laziest river of all time at Aulani. Like, it barely moves. It's still a lot of fun, but it is a slow, lazy river.
So that hasn't changed then?
No, I don't think we went in the main pool at all. That's like the 0 entry pool. Just because we spent most of our time swimming in this grotto area. The grotto is overlooking the ocean, so the view from there is beautiful.
Did you notice that if you go underwater, you can hear different sounds?
No. What?
Yeah.
I'll have to go back, Steve.
Over along the edges, you can see some of the tiles have like a whale on it, and if you go underneath the water by the whale, you'll hear whale sounds. And I can't remember all the different sounds, but it's kind of like, what's the pool at Walt Disney World where they have sounds underneath it? It's at one of the.
I think it's Art of Animation.
Okay,
it is that one.
Yeah,
the main pool there.
Yeah, so you can do that. My kids found that out. So there's lots of little hidden secrets around the resort, which are kind of cool.
Well, speaking of hidden secrets, you can see the Menahui. Is that how you say it? Menehune. And those are like the little, Amber, explain what that is.
Yeah, we hunted for those all the time. They're little, the legend per Uncle's story, they're little Hawaiian men and women who come out at night and they build things. So the legend has it, they came out at night and they built the fire pit and they built the kids' play area. and you're not supposed to see them, but per Disney, they're kind of like hiding all over. I think there's like 300 is what I heard, hiding all over the place. So that was a really fun activity. My daughter and I like to walk around outside and inside. Like they're in the elevators, they're by the old phone booths, they're just all over the place. They actually have a Menehune like iPad game. I should have mentioned this, that you can check out a little iPad at the community hall. We ran out of time. We didn't do that, but we saw people all the time walking around with iPads.
Yeah, there's an indoor one that goes to the lobby that's a little bit shorter, and then there's an outdoor one as well. So they're pretty interesting. They work a lot better than they initially did. Initially, the Wi-Fi wasn't very good, and so you get like halfway through, and then it just like the iPad would lock up, and you're like ah. But it's called Kamaka Grotto, and where you guys spent most of the time. It's got that not zero entry, but what is it like where you
the ledge,
like
there's just like a rock ledge. There's a tile ledge, and if you lean on it, you can see the beach below you, but it's kind of like a view of the ocean from the pool.
Did you guys go to the beach at all or spend time in the ocean?
A little bit. Not very much. It's a really nice beach just because there's just no waves at all. So it's perfect for little kids. Oh, speaking of the beach, they have I shouldn't say they're free. They're free for us, maybe because we're DVC, but maybe they're free for everybody. I honestly don't know. But they had like beach toys and boogie boards, and I believe something else was free. I can't remember. And I feel like you can rent those stand-up paddle boards because we saw a ton of people stand-up paddleboarding in the little lagoon.
The boogie boards and the beach toys are free. I think it's for everybody. And one thing, I guess, to kind of let everybody know is every day, what do you have to do, Amber, before you can use the pool?
Oh, good point. You have to show your room key and get a wristband, and otherwise you can't really. You're not supposed to be at the pool, and that's actually where you get your towels as well. So they really encourage you not to, save 100 chairs with a bunch of towels. You can't, because you can't get towels until the pool officially opens.
So they have those wristbands, which you have to wear every day, which is nice because it kind of keeps people. Because there's several other resorts within Ko Olina, so it kind of keeps just the people that are staying at Aulani, because it can get crowded sometimes. So it's only the people staying at Aulani can use it, which is nice.
And you can wear all of them, right, Amber?
Oh yes. We stayed there for 8 nights, and by day 7, my arm was just like driving me crazy. I had to cut them off. I wanted to hold on until the end. I just couldn't do it.
It is kind of funny. You'll see people on the planes coming home with their wristbands. It looks like something like Egyptian or something, with all the bands going up the side of their arms. But you're right. Yeah. So the beach toys and the boogie boards are free. You can rent this paddle boards per half hour or per hour. We paddleboard a lot, and I thought it was going to be kind of cheesy because the bay is kind of small, but we've gotten them for our oldest, and we actually had a lot of fun doing it. So especially for a little bit older kids to get out there and kind of challenge themselves. It's kind of cool, but yet, like you said, the waves are really gentle, so it's a great place for toddlers and younger kids to be down in the water and the beach, so you don't have those big waves coming in and splashing on them.
And plus, there's tons of beach chairs and a ton of umbrellas that you don't have to pay for. So it's a really great beach.
Do you have any secret places that you're willing to give out as far as where you guys like to hang out? Beach-wise or chair-wise around the resort?
It's not like a hidden place, but most of the chairs are facing the pool, obviously, but there's a couple chairs that actually face the ocean. There's some kind of hidden over by Ama Ama, and then there's some right by the main pool that are facing the ocean. Those were always like a hot ticket. And then whenever I saw one available, I would usually grab it, just because if you're not swimming, if you're not watching somebody swim, those are great chairs to have, the ones that face the ocean. I'll be honest, we were there, like I said, early February. It seemed very uncrowded, but there were still a lot of times where I could barely find a chair. So I can't even imagine what it must be like over spring break or summer when the place is packed. There seems like there's a million chairs, but it's really hard to find a spot sometimes. I guess kind of like the cruise ship.
It is. That's our favorite place to go. On the other side of Ama Ama, there's about 2 or 3 rows of chairs there. And I know Chris from Northern California, he and his wife go there quite a bit. You can actually get their cabanas that you can rent. There's a couple of different places where there's cabanas if you want to rent those out for the day. I know that they've rented theirs there, but we love that area over there because now our kids are old enough. They can run around the pools by themselves. And so my wife and I'll just hang out over there and watch the ocean, and it's not quite as crazy as some of the chairs by the pools. Is there anything that we missed talking about, I guess, Amber, that you guys did or that you want to talk about?
I'll talk about two things. One was meeting the characters, because it's not real obvious where they are or how to find them. I mean, it is printed in the Daily Eva. It's like, call this number to find out the characters. So you call this number, and then they just tell you where they're going to be and when. Huh. And most of them were over at the lawn where the luau is, which is like, it's, I'll call it behind the resort. Like, it's not obvious unless you kind of walk around. And it's a big lawn. You can just like hang out there. We kind of had a picnic there one day because when it's not being used for a luau, which is fair game. But that's where most of the characters were. So I think the characters we saw were all the classic ones, Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, Chip and Dale, Pluto, Daisy. And they're all wearing like cute Hawaiian outfits. So it's a lot of fun. We also saw Duffy and Shelly Mae and Moana and I think Stitch. I think those, and they're usually like every other day. Some of the less popular characters are out. Like Stitch would be every other day, and same with like maybe Donald and Daisy. But if you call that number and kind of plan your day around the random, like 125, Mickey's going to be back there. It's really easy to meet them. I don't think I saw any autograph books for sale in the gift shop. Maybe I just missed it, but they weren't real obvious. So that might be something to bring from home, unless I just wasn't paying attention. The gift shop, by the way, is full of like Duffy, Shelly Mae, everything. So if you want any of your Duffy and friends, Hawaii is the place to be because it is everywhere.
And they have some really cute, unique to Hawaii Disney items there as well.
They really do. They really do. I love that gift shop.
I love it too much.
One more super random thing is to request a room in a certain section, because the past two times we faced the sun as it was setting, which is obviously amazing. However, when the sun, at like 2-3 o'clock, the sun is just like blasting in your face on the balcony. And for me, like, it was almost just uncomfortable to be outside. Like, you can't, I don't know. It's just like so sunny. It's just hard to even see. Does that make any sense? So for me,
it makes great sense.
For me, I specifically wanted a room where the sun was blasting in my face in the morning, because in the morning we usually get up and go explore the island, and then we're back in the room in the afternoon and the evening. And that's when I want to sit on my balcony. So for me personally, I wanted a room facing the sun in the morning, whereas some people might want to sit outside in the morning and not want to sit out in the afternoon. So to me, that was super important. Like, it sounds silly, but I called multiple times. I'm like, I want a room like facing the sunrise, just because it wasn't even fun to sit out there. And what's the point of having a balcony if it's like super sunny and just uncomfortable? So that's my main tip.
Were they able to tell you what to specifically request to get to that?
Well, because we had booked a island garden view, like the resort is kind of shaped like a V. So like the outside of the V's are facing the island, and then the inside is facing the pool and ocean. So I was like, okay, I'm getting an island garden view, so I'm facing out. So my options are face the sun in the morning, because that's where the sun kind of rises on the left side of the island. Or my other option would be facing the right side, which is, I think, where you were, Christy, the parking lot, and facing the other hotel.
Yes.
So I'm like, I want to face the sun in the morning, versus facing the other side, because I knew that's where the sun would be at night. So it might sound silly, but that was like the most important thing for me for my room request.
That's a great tip.
No, that's a really good point there about how hot it gets in the afternoon, and if you want to sit on your balcony, it could be really uncomfortable, like you said. So I think we're gonna have to almost do another show if you're willing to do another show with us, Amber.
Yeah, we can do like a 5-part miniseries if you want to. I'm available for that.
I'm thinking I was gonna try and incorporate some stuff like around the island, because I know that you guys have been out and explored around the island. So maybe we could do a second part to this that will kind of talk about some things to see around the island if you're up for it.
Oh yeah, because every other day I force my husband to go on some sort of hiking adventure with me. So I would love to talk about all the crazy stuff to do on Oahu. That's maybe not so classic touristy stuff.
No, let's definitely do that. So we'll look for part 2 on this, and we'll talk about some of the things that you do around the island. There is a lot of things to do around Oahu, and
obviously we have to talk about Pearl Harbor, even though it is. But
yes,
yeah.
Christy, any other? I've got just a couple other random tips that I want to throw out there before we finish up. Anything else that you thought of that we should talk about today?
No.
Okay, just a couple of the random tips to throw out there. Amber, did you use the barbecues by any chance?
We did not, but we found them. They were over by the luau. And next time I was like, my husband, check these out. I'm going to hook him up with those next time.
Yeah, just like the DVC resorts at Walt Disney World, they have barbecues, and we've used them several times. They've got all the utensils out there for you. So the only thing you probably maybe need to bring or get is some, why can't I find it? Aluminum foil or something like that to maybe put over if you want to keep the meat warm. But we've used the barbecues. That's a great tip as far as cooking. You mixing it up a little bit. Then they also have outdoor movies. We've never done that, but they also have outdoor movies in the evenings for the kids, or for whoever wants to watch it. So just like the Walt Disney World resorts. The last one I'll throw out there is at the Olelo Room, which is kind of like their bar, which is near where the buffet is in the main building. In the evenings, they usually have a local Hawaiian artist that plays music, and that's a lot of fun too if you want to kind of take in a little bit of culture. And they offer there, and I've asked around Walt Disney World, and people always look at me crazy, but if you're a DVC member, they actually have a DVC drink of the day, which is a lot cheaper than their normal drink, so you can get that there at the Olelo Room as well.
That room is really cool because I think Olelo means word or language or something like that. And so there's just everything in the room is Hawaiian, like language related. And I know all the bartenders are fluent in Hawaiian. So if I was awake at night at all, that'd be something I would probably enjoy doing.
I'm kind of thinking that you and Christy need to maybe travel together.
I think that's a great idea.
Get car sick together. It'll be a fun time.
Which just leads me to remember, Steve, your comment from at the beginning of the show, the French fry comparison.
There we go. Let's finish it up with that. So French fries at Aulani, French fries at the cruise ship. Where are you going?
Oh, man. I'm going to go with cruise ship because they're free.
Included.
Or included. I like my French fries included.
Included in the price of admission.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Amber. Before we get out of here, what's next for you guys? Obviously, it's March. I don't even know what day it is. I'm like
19th.
March 19th. It's like, I don't know what.
We're all in the shut-in, coronavirus shut-in.
I know.
Well, I had a cruise booked for March 27th. That got canceled. So, of course, we rescheduled for an Alaskan cruise in June.
Oh, no.
But I've heard I've heard some things about, I don't know. We'll see what happens. See what happens.
What do you have after that? I want to make sure I don't book that, I guess, either. So.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, honestly, I feel like things are going to be heavily discounted eventually. So, you know me, I'm going to just swoop up some Florida resident deal wherever I can.
Well, perfect. Well, thanks so much, Amber. It's always super fun talking with you. We really enjoy your sense of humor, and thanks for coming on and helping us finally get this Aulani show out. And we'll look for part 2 here. We'll get it out before the next 3 years to talk about things around Oahu.
I was going to say, I'll schedule myself for 2022 and we'll talk about that.
Awesome. Well, have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, Amber.
Mahalo.
Well, that's going to wrap up part 1 of our Aulani series. Tune in next week when we take a look at some of the different things that you can do around the island of Oahu with Amber. Really do appreciate, once again, her taking the time out to kind of fill us in all about her stays at Aulani. Just an amazing resort area. And if you would like to know more about Aulani, I want to give a shout out to 2 other different podcasts. Chad Pennycuff over at My DVC Points did a 4-part series all about Aulani and looking about different aspects of the resort. And then Dan Heaton, one of my favorite podcasts, the Tomorrow Society podcast, also just about a year ago got back from Aulani, and he did a couple shows, one for sure, and there may have been 2 in that. But if you want to go over to either one of those podcasts, I'll put links to both of their shows in the show notes of this podcast, so you can find that as well. But yeah, 2 great podcasts, and they covered quite a bit about Aulani as well, so if you'd like to find out more about it from there. Well, between now and our next show, if you would like to get a hold of us and appear on the show, we would love to have you. I know the ships aren't sailing right now, but if you'd like to come on and talk about your past Run Disney, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney experience, we'll get you set up. Reach out to me, Steve, at dclpodcast.com, and we'll get you all set up there. If you would like to support the show, you can do so through our Patreon program. You can find out all the information over at patreon.com/DCLpodcast. Well, between now and our next show, on behalf of myself, Steve, Christy, and Chris, all of us here at the DCL Podcast, we want to wish you and your families all the best. Be well out there, and we'll see you next time on the DCL Podcast. The DCL Podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.